On this episode, sometimes you have to burn it. Hey everybody, this is the quarter show. And I was talking to one of our guys in sales a few minutes ago, and we were talking about an interesting phenomena that happens in sales. I'm sure it's happened to you, where you are working incessantly to close a deal. You're just working incessantly to close a deal, and you keep going and you're pushing, and you've got to have that deal. You're trying to get the deal, and why won't they call you back, and why won't it close, and it should be there, and you've got the person, and the person says they're the right person, and you're just like, and here it is. It shows up on your lineup today, showed up on your lineup yesterday, showed up on your lineup last week, and it's just stuck at that one stage, right? So, what do? You know, you look at the deal, and I don't know if you do this or not, but I can tell you, I swear by this, sometimes you have to pull out. Sometimes you have to burn it, you know? And that could mean pivot, but when I say burn it, I mean it may literally be that you have to just, you know, send them an email and just say, look, this is not working, or call them or whatever and say, look, it's not working. Obviously there's something awry here, something not totally right. Let's just cancel it. Let's just cancel the proposal. Let's just dump the deal, and we'll circle back at some point in the future, or not, or whatever. But really appreciate your time. Here's my contact information. And then you go ahead and you cancel the proposal. For us, we use Adobe EchoSign. You can go right to Adobe EchoSign and literally just cancel the proposal and just be done with it. And if you go do that times one deal or two deals or three deals, and you burn a couple of deals, and if you're stuck and your sales numbers are stuck, burn a couple of deals. You'd be amazed at how many people cannot bring themselves to waste a cycle, to burn a cycle. They can't seem to do this, but the cycles that are stuck, that are just sitting there, are literally clogging your entire pipe. They're wreaking havoc on all your other cycles. And if you would just dislodge 2 or 3 deals, depending on which ones are just stuck, if you would just sort of waste them, just burn them, just get rid of them, and then you can just start focusing on fresh and working on new things. Even if it means you don't have anything, you're better off to not have anything and just burn the cycles that are just sort of stuck and not moving. Dump them, get rid of them, and then you can pivot and get very busy on drumming up some different things. And that may mean that you have to go have 10 or 12 very productive conversations with some new people, and that may mean you have to go back to the drawing board and be like, okay, where am I going to go, what am I going to do? But you would be better off getting rid of those cycles, because you're sitting there. A lot of salespeople do this. They're like, but I've got to have it, and I need this thing. It's almost there. They're going to get their commission, or they're going to get whatever, and they can't quite bring themselves to the idea of just wasting it, of just burning it. They can't arrive at that. They have to have it. But here's the thing. You don't have anything, right? Like this concept that you have something. A lot of salespeople worry about losing something. They think they're going to lose something, but you actually don't have anything. So you have everything to gain. Like, for example, you don't have a deal, but in your head you're thinking, I can't lose this deal. I don't want to waste it because then I'm going to lose it. But what you don't realize is that you don't have it in the first place. It's not there. You have nothing, right? You're only trying to gain something. So if you waste something that you don't have already, it's neutral. It's net neutral. You haven't lost anything. You know, all you're doing is freeing up your attention a little bit, and then you can pivot your attention into some other productive areas. And I've seen stuff just flow in from that. People do this, and I've done it. I've had salespeople do it. Sometimes their numbers are at zero, or they're not, or like not getting any closes. And you know, maybe I'll look through their lineup, and there might be one cycle or maybe 2 cycles in there that are just like funky. I'll talk to them and I'll say, you know, well, what's going on here? And like, oh, and it keeps showing up in the lineup, and it's keep there, and it's just stagnant, and it's kind of like the rainbow wheel on your Apple computer or whatever, right? Just spin it, and it's like it just stays in that state. And the second you just say, you know what, just burn it. Just get rid of it. Just waste it. How are we going to do it? You don't obviously want to be a jerk. You always want to be cordial, but there's an element of just saying, you know what, let's just not. And you have to be able to sort of get up and walk away from the deal. And you can burn the proposal, cancel the proposal, give them a note, let them know that you're pulling out, just dump it. But by the way, when you dump a deal, when you burn a deal, do it vocally.
Genuinely and openly.
Openly. Don't just go silent on your part. Don't just be like, oh, I'm just not going to call them and email them. You just go silent.
Yeah.
That's not the way to do it. You've got to vocally do it. You have to do it via phone, via email. You have to announce that you're canceling and that you're pulling out. That's really the best way to do it. And this is not some kind of deceptive tactic. It's actually just a healthy thing for you to do, and it will create flows. It's like the tides, right? They come and they go, and they're just constantly doing that. You have to be like the tides. You have to sort of have some and, you know, not have some or whatever, right? And the more you can do that, the more flows you're going to create.
You know, it's an interesting thing. You know, if you've been through different sales cycles where you felt you had something, and so you had to hold on to it and you couldn't let go of it, and you know, if you've been through enough with sales, you know that sometimes, well, maybe even often, these things that are in this way, they never happen, or something is wrong with them, and it just messes with everything you're doing. And it took me a long time of listening to this particular communication of like, you don't have anything, so you have nothing to lose, to finally be able to apply it and just go, cool, I'm out. And to announce it, to say so cordially and say, cool, I'm out.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get immediate response and you get a closed deal. And sometimes you get the reason why they weren't responding,
right,
and it's not a closed deal and it is done.
Right.
But you'll know. And you have so my advice on this very line is just when this comes about, because what happens also is this thing that you're holding on to, this is your attention. And your attention is sticking on this thing. And you may not fully realize it, but it's going to eat your time during the day. It's going to eat your thought. You're going to take less action on the rest of what you're supposed to be doing because this thing is eating your thought and eating your attention. And you're like, well, let's see, if I was to text this person, no, not that. I'm going to use the restroom, you know, and you come back and it can absorb you. Yeah. So you have to watch for it. It's not that you can't really get fixed on a deal and make it happen. It's not that you can't do that.
Yeah.
It's that you have to be mindful and watchful for when these things are sticking your attention badly so that other things aren't getting produced.
Use an example. It's okay to be intense about a deal. As long as it's making progress and it's forward moving. Be intense in the close, work to close it, that's fine. I'm specifically talking about a deal that stays in that spinning cycle in the same spot. It's like stagnant and it's just there.
You know the ones. You've called every day, twice a day for a week, and like there's not in your email and nothing and nothing.
You know the ones I'm talking about. They're like they're just stuck. And those are the ones. There's something wrong with them, and there's a bunch of other things that we've done on the quarter show, I believe, and we'll continue to do, but there's other reasons for it. But one of the remedies, one of the things you can do is just basically burn it. Just basically waste and pull out, you know, and just be like, pull out of the cycle. And it's gonna create communication. It's gonna create some communication, like Ben said. They might say, you know what, here's why we didn't move forward, or here's what's going on, yeah, thanks, we'll circle back. Or it's gonna say, no, we want to do this, we're going to do it. You have to be willing to sort of experience whatever the outcome actually is, whatever actually happens from that, genuinely. You still can't just be so fixated on it that you have to close it. You genuinely have to actually pull out.
Yeah, and probably one additional thought that's important to say is that our thought process and what we actually want to communicate is in burning something, no deal is ever dead. No deal is actually 100%. Ever dead. You are like, if you want to do business with a company, you're gonna wind up doing business with that company.
100%. Good point.
So when we say burn it, it's not. It's never gone forever. And
no, it's never dead. We actually don't have a file for like dead cycles or like stuck or whatever. It's totally true. It's never dead. Keep it somewhere. Keep following up in different points and different things like that, and put it on the radar somewhere. However you manage that. But I agree. It's a valid point. You never truly walk away from any deal.
If it's burned, you have the ashes, and maybe you can repiece them together.
Yeah,
you know,
but for the cycle that you're talking about, for the exact cycle that you're on at that exact unit of time, that's the thing that you're burning. Yeah. That's the thing that you're walking away from. And you're saying, you know what, it's fine. Cancel it and just wrap it up.
Hope we can help soon.
Sometime in the future or whatever, and you circle back and do something new. But it's amazing to create a fresh flow of new cycles. You do that with 2 or 3 cycles that are like sort of stuck or stagnant and just sitting there, and then you go take all of your attention and you drive it into some other things and drum it up new things or whatever, and you'll find sort of reinvigorated flows and attention and things like this, and you'll be amazed at how much attention those 2 or 3 deals are sort of absorbing, and in many ways just sort of sticking you to some degree, where it's like nothing's moving. You're just like in this frozen time zone.
Just last week, actually, I told you I was fixated on a particular deal. Just last week on Tuesday, last week, super fixated. I realized it, and I literally was just like, I actually made this. It sounds all mystical. I made this motion at my desk, and I decided that they were put aside, and immediately an email came in with a closed, brand new client. But I'd been sitting on this thing for like 2 weeks, just like, oh my God, and great client, and they need to do more.
It happens so much. I mean, it is kind of mystical, but it happens so much, and I think that it's important to have your freed up attention and have things that are flowing. Certainly in sales, it's important when you're in sales, it's important for things to flow all the time. Constantly it flows. When it stagnates, that's not healthy for your sort of morale and for your vigor in your job. You don't want anything to stagnate. You don't want your attention to get stuck. You want to keep the tides happening. You want to be flowing all the time. And so sometimes that means not pushing so hard on these deals, but rather pulling on a couple. Like, okay, let's waste that one. Let's dump this one. Let's burn that one. Couple of those, and then you can just lean in hard. All right. Hope that helps. If you like it, subscribe to the channel there, and hit the old like button, and then share it on social. And if you have any questions about it, obviously leave them in the comments, okay? Thanks.